beer battered shrimp tacos, first you will need to start deveining and shredding off the shrimp. As you can see, I have my lovely assistant here to help me, along with his mama who would demonstrate how to devein them. I said I could do it myself, but they said it takes a village to raise a kid, and they insisted on helping me make this. As me and my partner's mom are taking care of this shrimp, you will need to get a few things. You will need red cabbage, and you will need normal cabbage as well. Then you will need a few cloves of garlic.
Aquí preparando todo.
Then a few chilies. As well as about 4 tomatoes. Then we'll use 1 whole lime. If you prefer more, then that's completely fine. It's really all up to your taste and what you prefer. You also need a red onion, as well as a generous bundle of cilantro. Once you get that done, you want to finely chop all of your ingredients. For the cabbage, you want it to be very small pieces. Oh, look, there's me in the background with the shrimp. Then again, you want to do the red cabbage next. Look at him really get into it. As you can see, he starts to finely shred them and then put them to more bite-sized pieces. Right now, we are making a slaw. It kind of tastes like pico de gallo. In many Latino families, cooking together is seen as a form of bonding and showing that you care for each other. And what better ways to bond with each other than over a good meal together? Again, with the onions, you want to finely chop it. As you can see, he uses a technique where he halves it, and then he makes small slits that don't go all the way through the onion, and then he makes cuts on the opposite end so they come out nice and cubed. It really cuts down the amount of cutting work. Honestly, I didn't even know about this, so this would have made my life a whole lot easier if I had known this sooner. Then you want to repeat the same thing with the peppers.
No, she's saying that she's going too fast, that's why.
As you can hear in the background, I was struggling to keep up with his mom. She's an expert at deveining shrimp. Another good pointer is when you cut, especially with peppers, to have some gloves on. That way you don't risk directly touching your eye with the pepper. I have done that before, and trust me, it is not a fun experience. As you can see, we are finally chopping everything into cubes. This makes it a lot easier to put on the tacos. Now with the tomatoes, it's a little bit different. You first cut it in half, and then you'll see him take out the guts out of the center.
You can just put it right there in that trash can.
The best way to pour out the center is to use a spoon and go around the edges just like how he's doing it. At this point, I finished off with the shrimp, so I decided to finish the cutting. So again, with the tomatoes, you want to get them into nice, small, bite-sized cubes. Next, you want to wash all of your cabbage and dry it off. After it's done drying off, you want to put it in a bowl. As you can see, this bowl was a little bit too small, so we switched it to a bigger bowl before adding in our tomatoes. As you can see, I was struggling. I should have just turned the cutting board. Then we'll be adding the garlic. I was just going to mince up the garlic, but he introduced me to this garlic masher. It made everything so much easier. Just listen to that crunch. Then we'll be adding in our lime. We'll use the whole lime, but again, if you prefer more, feel free to do so. Nextly, we will add our salt. You can really just eyeball it. It's about 2 tablespoons depending on the portion, and then nextly, you will add your pepper as well. You just want to get it all in there. Next, you want to give it a generous toss. I have weak wrists, so I handed this back over to him as well. And then finally chop up your cilantro on the side and place that in and give it another good mix. Next, we're going to make our chipotle mayo. You'd want to put in about 2 big spoonfuls of mayonnaise and as well as sour cream. After this, you want to put in the chipotle peppers and some sauce. Again, about 2 big spoonfuls. If you prefer it more spicy, put in more. We end up putting in more later because we definitely liked it a little bit more spicy. You can either use an immersion blender, but we didn't have one, so we use this bullet blender to emulsify the concoction. Now we are working on the beer batter. You want to start off with 2 cups of flour. Then about 1/4 a cup of cornstarch. Again, depending on how much you use, we had about 5 pounds of shrimp because we were making food for his whole family. Then again, depending on your serving size, you want to add in your cayenne pepper. I missed the spoon, but hey, it's fine. Then we added some more pepper, about 2 spoonfuls as well. We had to grind it down a little bit because we didn't have the freshly grounded pepper. Is it the same, about 2? Nextly, you'll put in about 1 scoop of garlic salt. We end up putting in more later, but again, it's really up to your taste.
Yeah.
And then you want to put in 1 egg. Since we had more and we had 5 pounds of shrimp, we added another egg as well, and then you want to finally combine that as well. Nextly, you want to add a full bottle of beer. My partner's dad recommended this beer, and he says it's not the same if you don't use this beer, so I'm not sure if this beer is magic, but it was suggested. Now that we have a fine batter, we want to mix the shrimps all up in there, and once you get an even coat on them, you want to put them in some hot oil and fry on both sides so they're golden brown.
And then I'm gonna move over.
Look at that sizzle. My partner's dad warmed up the tortillas for us, and this is us plating it. We put in our chipotle mayo that we made earlier. And then afterwards, we will put in a healthy little handful of shrimp. Oh, they look so good. And then we will add that slaw that we made earlier. I honestly recommend this slaw. I could just eat it straight out of the bag. Nextly, you want to add in some pickled red onions. My partner's mom made these and surprised us with it. They were really good. We topped it all off with a little bit more of that chipotle mayo. And here's a moment of truth. What will we think? I think the tacos were a success.